Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Amina and this is Experiencing Fragrances with Amina. Today we're doing a tag video created by the beautiful Ruth's Gifted Hands. She basically came up with a tag that's meant for us to share our most ruthless fragrances. Our most ruthless fragrances. So if you're not familiar with Ruth, I'll link her information down below. This tag she created around the beginning of the year. Unfortunately, I was not able to participate in that because your girl had a lot of things going on at the beginning of the year. So I'm here for the second installment. A lot of ladies in Fragcom have participated. I will link a few of their videos down below. So if you're interested, go ahead and check it out. I'll also link down Ruth's information down below. So of course, check it out. She has content that ranges from makeup, fragrance, cooking, lifestyle, everything. Yeah, she has a great platform, so make sure you check her out. So when we talk about ruthless fragrances, I'm curious. I want to know, what do you think of when you think of a fragrance that is ruthless? Go ahead and comment down below. For me personally, when I think of a ruthless fragrance, I think of a fragrance that I wear for me, and I really don't care about what other people think about it. I'm not wearing a fragrance to please others. I'm wearing this fragrance just for me, regardless of if it's a mass appealing one or if it's challenging. Something that I wear, like I said, for me. How many times am I going to say that? But these are going to be fragrances that may be a bit challenging for some, maybe not, but for me, it makes me feel really confident. It makes me feel beautiful. It makes me feel strong. So yeah, so that's what I consider to be a ruthless fragrance. So yeah, let's go for it. So the first fragrance is going to be a fragrance that I said was one of my best purchases of 2020, and it comes from the house of Exotic, and the nose behind it is Bruno F, and it is Oud Narcisse. So this one's just a beautiful, sensual white floral sheep. It has notes of jasmine and narcisse in here. Also, of course, you have your oak moss. And for me, the opening is quite bright and green, but then it settles down into this lovely floral fragrance with a little bit of funk in there. But overall, I find this fragrance to be very sexy and it makes me feel confident. And every time I talk about this fragrance, I always mention how every time I wear it, I feel like I become the woman I've always wanted to be, or a woman that I strive to always be, I guess I should say. And I find that that woman is someone who is strong, someone who's confident, carefree, and just lives by this, like, I don't give a fuck attitude, you know? That's this. And I feel like when I wear this, I am her. I really love this fragrance. It does mean a lot to me. And I know Bruno mentioned that this project, is something special to him. And I can feel it. I can feel it in this when I wear it. Every single time I wear it, I just feel like I morph into just the most badass person. So yeah, that is Oud Narcisse by Exotic. So the next fragrance comes from a house that no longer exists, unfortunately. That house is SP Parfums. The nose behind that one is Sven Pritzkelitz. I always have a hard time saying his last name, but he is a German perfumer, but due to COVID issues that he had to close down shop, which breaks my heart because I feel like he's super talented. But the fragrance I'm mentioning today is called Dark Rose, and there it is. This one, unfortunately, I only have a travel spray, but this is a travel spray that I use very sparingly, and it's also a really strong fragrance, so you don't need that much. Unfortunately, it's not one that I've had many wearings this season, because with my move to Texas, it's quite warm and we haven't really had a winter, and this fragrance is so intense that you cannot wear it outside of like the frigid cold. So yeah, this fragrance is one of my favorite rose fragrances ever. It's super leathery, super animalic. I always describe the rose as being like a blood red rose that's kind of aged, like it probably has the dark edges around the petals. You know what I mean? Like when a rose is near dying, it's like very deep red and it has like the dark like a dark lining around the petals. That's what I picture when I smell this. It's leathery with some animalic notes in here. SP Parfums is a cruelty-free. They don't use any real animal ingredients, but whatever he does in here is just genius. It's very intense. It has a sweetness in there, but it's also animalic. I even sense a little bit of woody notes, or maybe perhaps oud, especially on my skin, but that's not a listed note. But this one here is my definition of an unapologetic fragrance. I've talked about this, and everyone I know who has tried this one is like, no, this is too much. I remember sending a sample to Eve from Eve Spider Smells, and she said, yeah, this was really intense, but she was able to appreciate the dry down. And for me, I appreciate the entire wear of this. It starts off very strong, very intense. It fills up a room, but then once it dries down, it becomes this quite sensual, dry rose fragrance that's unlike most rose fragrances that are out there in the market. This one's just stunning. I love this one. So yeah, that is Dark Rose by SP Parfums. Okay, so the next one, I had to have a rose oud fragrance in here. I mean, I had to. And the one that I am sharing with you today is Oud Palao by Diptyque. And Oud Palao smells very similar to Oud Isfahan by Maison Christian Dior, but this one has an added tobacco note, which makes it slightly different from Oud Isfahan. But like I said, they're very similar. They're both a very sophisticated rose oud fragrance, and they both have a bit of skank to it, but I feel like Oud Palao has a tiny bit more. To me, it's not as sweet. The rose here is more drier than it is in Oud Isfahan, but this is not a comparison video. Let me just talk about this one. But this one is a very strong rose oud fragrance, very sophisticated. I feel like this is probably one of the most mass appealing fragrances that I'm going to share with you today. But it just screams sophistication, and it's strong, it's powerful. It's one of my favorite rose oud fragrances, along with the other one, but I just wanted to share with you Oud Palao today. Yeah, this one also has, you know, that I think that tobacco note really pushes things forward here and makes it less sweet. Gives it a little bit more depth and more complexity. I know there's some vanilla in the dry down as well that makes it really, I don't know, it just kind of gives it this sensuality that so that it's not so like dry, not so intense. So yeah, I love this fragrance. This is Oud Palao by Diptyque. Very unapologetic in my eyes. So the next two fragrances I'm going to talk about kind of are in the vintage style. One of them is vintage and the other one is modern, but is inspired by vintage perfume. The first one I want to talk about comes from the house of Christian Dior, and this is a vintage formulation of the what's it called? Miss Dior. This is the Eau de Cologne. Can I get this to focus? This is the Eau de Cologne. The light is not doing it. Here we go. It's a massive bottle. Yes, I know. But yeah, this is great. I have tried a lot of the current Miss Dior formulations, and to me, I feel like a lot of them were very lackluster. My favorite Miss Dior, which I think is the only Miss Dior worth having, modern version, is Le Parfum, which unfortunately is discontinued. I don't know why they do this. But yeah, this Miss Dior vintage Eau Cologne, I think it's beautiful. It's like a aldehydic forward floral sheep, but it has some dark smoky qualities to it, especially in the dry down. I actually decanted it in here so that I can wear it. I can spray it easier. Stormy is on like level whatever today. I don't know what her deal is. But yeah, oh yeah. So with the Eau de Cologne concentration, it's very loud, sparkly, almost astringent in the opening. But after the first like 30 seconds, that really loud, astringent, you know, feel goes away, leaving behind this like aldehydic floral, and it's got a little stank to it that I love it. I think it wears so beautifully on the skin. And what I like the most about this is the dry down. The dry down does become this like smoky, leathery, really close to the skin. It is an eau de cologne concentration, but I don't have any issues with performance. I feel like it performs very well for an eau de cologne. And I have the EDT, but I find myself reaching for the eau de cologne more often, perhaps because and that's probably because I have a massive bottle of the eau de cologne. But yeah, this is also one that I feel smells very sophisticated. It does have a dated feel, but smelling this makes me realize how a lot of modern fragrances or perfume takes a lot of inspiration from perfumes back in the day, and I can totally see it here. And yeah, this is, like I said, to me, very sophisticated. It smells very mature, not mature like in age, but a mature like, you know, you've lived life, you know, like you're wise. I just feel like a wise woman would wear this, and I love wearing this. And every person that I've asked to smell this, I've only received very positive feedback from it. So yeah, this one is very amazing, and I find that it's ruthless because I feel like if I were to wear this out in public, people would be like, what the heck? Like, you know, because it does have that vintage feel. So they're probably gonna be like, oh, she smells like an old lady or something. But I honestly don't give a damn because it smells great. Okay, it smells beautiful, smells opulent, smells clean but dirty at the same time. It's just, they don't make perfume like they used to. They don't. Okay, so that one was Christian Dior Miss Dior Eau de Cologne. So the last fragrance I'm going to talk about is one of the first fragrances that I've experienced from this house. A house that I've been really curious about for the longest time, but I finally took the plunge, got a few samples, and I'm impressed with it. And this is from DSH. Dawn Spencer Hurwitz, and this one is vintage patchouli. So if you're familiar with her packaging, she doesn't have the name of the fragrance on the face of the bottle, but you will find it on the bottom. But this is vintage patchouli, and it is just that. It is a true patchouli fragrance with a vintage touch. It does have some chic qualities to it as well, but this is just, if you love patchouli, you will love this. And I know patchouli can get a bad rep a lot of the times, but to me, this is patchouli done very, very well. And as you guys know, I love patchouli, and this has quickly become one of my favorite patchouli fragrances. So it has like this dusty quality. It also has a chocolatey quality as well. It's quite full, and on my skin, I feel like it does magic. It does so much magic. Earthy. It's a very earthy, dark, dusty patchouli, but it's just, I don't know how to explain it, but it has some woody aspects to it as well. But because it's a patchouli fragrance and I'm describing it as being dark and dusty, it's not dense. It has an airy quality to it that I'm not sure where it's coming from, or you know what it is, but it's just, it performs very well. I find it's very special. A patchouli fragrance with a lot of dimension. I love this fragrance. But yeah, the reason why I consider it to be unapologetic is because it's so patchouli forward. And I know a lot of people struggle with patchouli forward fragrances, but I personally love them. So yeah, I find that sometimes people may consider this a bit challenging because of the amount of patchouli in this one, but I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, that is Vintage Patchouli by DSH. So yeah, that's it. Those are my 5 Ruthless fragrances in my collection. As I said, I could have mentioned a lot more. There were a lot more that I wanted to put in here, but I didn't want to be redundant and name off fragrances that I've already talked about. So yeah, a couple of these I talked about already, maybe like Eau de Narcisse, but the rest I haven't, not so much. Oh, Oud Palao I'll probably talk about a few times, but anyway. So yeah, I want to thank Ruth for including me in this tag, and I look forward to seeing what others are going to be doing for this second go round. I'll link everyone's information down below, as I said. So yeah, I plan to film some videos today, so you're gonna see this outfit and repeat. So thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.